Hey, this is Ghost Tracks Podcast. I'm Tina. I'm your host, and this is my friend Molly. Hello. Thanks for being here. It's been a minute. I apologize. I hope everyone's doing okay. We're getting closer to summertime, though Indiana has not caught up with that because it's fucking cold. Molly got here. How long have you been here?
Since Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yep.
She hasn't really had a whole lot of nice weather.
No, I'm enjoying the cold actually because I am living in the devil's armpit of Louisiana, so it's sweaty.
Yeah, we've not really gotten to be sweaty out here. Just a couple of days here and there, but mostly it's been cold. I think it's in the 40s at night right now still. It's insane. But, okay, I'm gonna give you, what do I call it, my shrimp story. You guys have not heard from me in 20 days as of right now when I'm recording. I'm recording on the 25th. You guys will get this on Wednesday. So it's been more than 20 days. But I've had a hell of a time since I got back from Disney. It's been nonstop. The day that I got back from Disney, our fridge was broken. And then it took me a couple of weeks to get a new one because we're broke bitches. So I had to get that done. And then my house flooded. And then my car broke down the same day my house flooded. And then we've been trying to get through track and field for my older son. And so there's been a lot of meets. And then there was the end of band season, which was all of their competitions. And then their banquet, end of season banquet. And then Minnow was here, so we did a lot then. My husband's been out of town, so I've just been in charge of everything.
You got this.
And then just lots and lots and lots of work. So it's just been madness. Unfortunately, the only thing that I could have take the back seat at the time was the podcast. So like I had written up like half an episode to get it out on time, and then it just did not happen. So I'm so sorry that I've been gone, but I've been really tired. But new fridge is in, got a new couch. The house is mostly put back together from the flood. I feel like I'm like in biblical times, from the flood times.
It was a travesty.
It was. This is the second flood that has happened in that exact spot from that exact point of origin.
Maybe your bathroom's haunted.
It is. It's a spooky toilet. And every once in a while it throws a hissy fit. But we got a new toilet. So we took the spooky one out, got rid of the old shitter. But yeah, new floors are laid, paint's going in, ceiling's been patched because it flooded upstairs, which then leaked to downstairs, which flooded into my kitchen. So yeah. Car is mostly fixed. I mean, there's still a couple things, but nothing urgent. She's drivable now. Dirty Gertie is on the road. So yeah, I'm just trying to survive life. And I feel like that's going around.
Yeah, aren't we all?
It is going around. Work's amazing, but I know everybody there is really going through it too. And lots of my friends are Earth, the world, Mother Nature.
I'm still recovering.
Energy. It's just kicking our asses right now. It's really bad. Oh, and then prom. Prom happened. My son went to prom. He's a junior. He looked very handsome. He was in a very salmon pink suit.
He looked so adorable.
He was very handsome. He's adorable. Everybody looked great. All of his friends got together and they had a lot of fun. So, and then my daughter moved out. So now I only have 2 of the 4 kids living at home. Down 3 animals in the house though, so that's pretty cool. 2 less cats, 1 less dog, as one cat yells from beyond. And then, oh no, that was a kid.
That's a child.
I was a whole child.
I was like, man, that cat sounds like
right? Speaking words now. Let me in. And then Sleep Token. I know if you're on video, if you're watching, you can see my Sleep Token shirt. They released their new album. There's some conspiracy theories happening about maybe a double album release or something of that nature. Sleep Token's on it. Their marketing team, I don't know who they've got, but I think it's just Vessel, truthfully. Vessel and 2.
You think so?
I really do think so. Because they keep it all within like Greek mythology based, and I don't even know.
Or maybe somebody that's close to them that they can trust.
Maybe.
Because that would be a lot to put on your plate. Like
you don't even know.
You're writing songs, you're recording your songs, you're going to concerts, and then do your
But
marketing?
you're not like waist deep in the Sleep Token shit like I am. And I'm not even that deep in. There's people deeper than me. How are we liking the new album? Because I love it.
Well, the couple songs that you played,
yes.
Yeah, I really liked them.
Yeah, no, they've got really good. My favorite song is Even in Arcadia, which is the album name, which I know a lot of people I think kind of sleep on, but I don't know. Every time I hear it, I get full body goosebumps, and I actually cried the first time I heard it at the end when the violin starts playing.
Music can do that to you.
Hmm
I've been watching a lot of America's Got Talent.
I love America's Got Talent. No judgment here.
And there was this one performer, okay, on the way up here, her name is Sydney Christmas. She's got the most powerful voice I've ever heard. And I went deep. I went to like the very first video she ever posted on YouTube. And her voice, it's like she's can sing low and high at the same time. It's like she's got two voices or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
one thing you need to know about Molly is if there's a rabbit hole, she's jumping into it.
Yes, I've gone down many of rabbit holes and I haven't climbed out of a few of them, so
she's my conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
Person. Yeah, she's going in deep, guys.
I will. And I know very random things about celebrities too. Like if I could improve my memory, you would think that I would dump a few things like
unnecessary bullshit.
Useless information.
No.
And I don't know. You retain information.
I just retain really weird fucking information.
I felt that.
I get it from random. And excuse my laundry pile in the back. It's clean. It's folded. I just didn't put it away.
It adds to the ambiance.
Right. Sorry.
You saw nothing?
There's nothing here. Well, okay, so today, since I've already told you a lot of my ghost stories, Molly's here visiting from the armpit of the U.S. in Louisiana. So she's haunted as hell. So I thought that Molly could tell us some stuff that she's experienced over the years. And then apparently there's some experiences that we've had that I don't even remember, probably because they were alien related and I was traumatized and they probed me and did the little flashy thing like MIB does, and now I don't remember. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't remember some of these.
You have a whole memory of us in Seattle.
Almost getting murdered in Seattle, basically.
That I must have blocked out, or maybe I was a little under the influence, but
I don't think we were drinking.
Flashes.
I don't think we were drinking.
I get flashes, but I'm like, like sometimes I remember things. I'm like, was that a dream? Did I watch something, or was that my life? But
yeah, that's part of our we remember random things.
Yeah,
not always the important shit.
And our history started in Washington. I didn't always live in the devil's armpit.
I was just gonna say, Molly and I have known each other for 19 years. Let's see. We lived in a teen mom home because we're teen moms. It was
like a transition.
I was gonna say transition center. So yeah, my situation was I had lived out on my own already. I had my daughter a month after I turned 18. I moved out into my own apartment, and then that apartment building was like, oh yeah, we did because it was income based, which a lot of Washington is because it's fucking expensive and you don't make money out there. But they did my paperwork with the income that I had. You got to hand in your fucking paychecks and all that other crap. So there's no reason why it shouldn't have been correct. But they did something incorrectly and I owed thousands of dollars and they wanted it by a certain date. And if I couldn't get it, then I had to move out. I had to be out. And I was 18 and a half, not even quite 19 yet at the time, and I didn't have the money. So moving back with my mom was not an option. So I had to go move into the transitional teen mom home. And Molly lived across the hallway from
It was fate. You actually lived in the apartment.
Your old apartment.
My old one, and I painted it purple.
Yep.
I'm 8 months pregnant. Painting probably shouldn't have been, but
that's why her daughter's a little weird. Having us as moms makes them weird too. Yeah. I don't actually remember officially how we met across the hall.
Maybe I saw you in the hallway.
I don't know. I have a tendency of just like seeing people and going, yep, that's my friend now. And then we're just friends.
I was actually
forever and ever.
Yeah, I was trying to remember too exactly how we met, but I think we just kind of like went.
Yeah, we just kind of gravitated. Because then we worked together too after I moved in there because we worked at Babies R Us.
You worked there with me too?
Yes.
How did I?
Yes. I was a cashier and you were.
What?
Yeah, and you did like stocking and stuff.
No, I wasn't in stocking. I was in baby gear.
Oh, okay.
I was working the strollers.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, no, I worked as a cashier up there.
How do I not remember that?
I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, we've known each other. Her daughter was less than a year old when I met her. So we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
We're old ladies.
I think she was about 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've been together, but a couple of these instances that I don't recall apparently happened there.
Yep. Well, one of them had, well, two of the experiences have to do with your spirit board, but the first one
that I don't even remember having.
You don't remember having
it? I do not remember having a spirit board.
Wow. Well, I used to make them because I was too broke to buy my own, plus a very Christian mother, so had to make them, destroy them, which was not the greatest idea. I was kind of dumb. But yours was the first actual one I had ever used. And I remember you laid out, like, you had crystals. You had some quartz crystals that you had put out. I think there was a seashell.
That checks.
I remember a seashell. And you were just like, yeah, here it is. Okay, sure, you can do whatever you want with it. You were, like, so blasé about it.
I mean, it sounds like me, but that was the alter ego. That was my other personality. Absolutely no recollection of this board.
Well, I can't remember all the questions we asked, but I do remember that it said I was a stripper.
That checks.
But then it said I was a mosquito. And so then you asked it, so was she a stripping mosquito? And it was like, yes. So I'm pretty convinced that you were moving it.
I don't think so. I wasn't even there at this point. I have no idea. I don't remember this at all. Not even a little bit.
You don't remember it?
Sorry if you hear my dogs. If I can't edit it out, my dog is cranky and old too, so.
You had also told me at that point that you're pretty sure aliens had come into your daughter's room. And you're like, I swear, I woke up one morning and I think she's an alien.
Well.
Maybe that's where the fear comes from.
No, I've always been afraid of aliens. Always. Like, I'm not kidding. I've been afraid of aliens since I was like a toddler. My whole life.
We need to do some hypnotherapy and figure out where this comes from. Because I don't know what it is about that apartment. Because now it just clicked with me. Why did I not piece this together? You had an alien experience there. I was almost asleep. And
she tells me way after the fact, after we'd already were done, we moved down. She's like, there was an alien in my apartment.
Well, maybe this isn't why I pieced it together. I don't know. I was just kind of floating through life back then. I
think we all were.
I was a little floopy.
But yeah, apparently it was aliens. But
I don't know. I remember the time. It was 10:30. I was like, now's a good time to take a nap, and it was peaceful. And here's the thing. I didn't sleep with the window open. The window was not open. But I felt this breeze, and I look over, my window's open. But it's kind of like, almost seemed like this dream state. Everything was like really hazy and this yellow glow. And then this little creature just comes through my window. And it's just all hunched over and just like looking around. And I couldn't move. And I'm like, hey, there's a little dude in my room.
Y'all would have had to put me in diapers because I would have been shitting myself.
Yep. I watched it walk across and it just kind of peeked over where my daughter was sleeping and went out my bedroom door into the living room. And as soon as it went through the door, I was able to move again. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I go and look and check on my daughter. She's still sleeping and it's gone. And I'm like, okay. I went and took it. Yep.
And the way she's just so casual about it. Probably probed, but it's fine.
Dude, there's so many things that have happened, and I'm just like, okay.
Not this girl. Not where aliens are concerned. No. I would have been packing my shit and moving out now.
Yeah.
I would have been calling the police.
Well, I didn't know that you had such a fear of aliens.
Yes.
And when I had brought that up to you was years. Like,
yeah, I think we were not. I don't even think I was living in Washington still when you told me about it.
No.
It was
I feel like it was
way after.
I feel like it was kind of more like within the last few years, I told you.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm sorry, what now?
Yeah, because we were talking about a different podcast episode of something else that we were like listening to. And I was like, oh, yeah, now it reminds me of an alien that happened. You're like, what? In the same apartments that I was living in?
You
I'm like,
guys.
yeah.
That's probably why I don't remember any of the rest of this shit. Because again, aliens were probably frequently visiting and erasing my memory.
Maybe.
My whole life.
Maybe that's what's wrong with my memory.
I was gonna say maybe that's what's wrong with you. I thought that's what you were gonna say to me. Maybe that's what's wrong with you. Maybe.
You know, I've honestly thought about that before, like if that is what's wrong with me, because sometimes I have missing hours. And this just happened to me, let's see. You remember that April 8th, that big, I think this was like last year. That big
eclipse?
solar eclipse.
Yeah.
Weird stuff
The
happened. Yes.
the total eclipse.
Yes.
Yep.
Within that time frame, my cat Salem, we had to put him down, unfortunately. But I was setting up the new ferret cage on the porch. And my husband was like, hey, want to run to the store with me? I was like, sure. We came back, and the same steps that I had gone down and came up, there was a piece of pyrite. Just sitting.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I was like,
where the hell did that come from?
If the universe knows me and knows that I like shiny things,
She's
but
a crow.
something stopped me. I was like, no, don't touch it. And I was like, fairies. I was like, what if this is fairies? And
Yeah,
I was like, but, you know, I was just crying like an hour ago over my cat. And what if it was a crow? Because, you know, we do have crows and maybe they were watching me and they bring you things. So I was like, okay. Well, so I put it on Salem's grave and I left it there. A week later, same spot, there was a dried up fairy mushroom.
I think maybe Salem was visiting you.
Maybe.
And bringing you gifts saying, hey, I'm still here.
I'd like to think so. But I don't think it was.
Because maybe now he has thumbs and he can do that.
Salem was he was a pretty interesting cat. He was.
Yeah, I've never met any of your current animals.
Well, I have a lot. But
you're in my house. I've got a lot too.
We are kind of a collector.
We are.
But yeah, that same week, you know, you brought up the show Ghosts earlier to me. You got me into that show. Well, I got Brick into that show. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put on an episode in the bedroom. I'm going to get the snacks ready. And he's like, okay, well, I got to go use the bathroom real quick. So I put the show on. You know, the show's only 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're less than 30 minutes per episode.
It's 10 o'clock. And I remember thinking, cool, I got an hour and a half before I got to go to sleep for work. So he's in the bathroom, maybe what I think is 5 minutes. The show's still playing. He comes out. I look at the clock. It's 11:30.
Look, men do be sitting on them potties for a long time.
But this 22-minute episode is still playing. So I'm like,
slips.
Yeah, it had to have been a time slip because it was not even close to daylight savings time or anything like that, plus an hour and a half. It would have gone an hour.
Well, and it usually happens in the middle of the night too. Daylight savings time. The hour goes back in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly. Around like midnight, right?
I think it's actually past that. I think it's like 2, 2, 3 in the morning.
Well, this was 10 o'clock. He comes in and I look at the time and I'm like, he's like, what? I said, look at the time. He goes, the hell? He goes, there's no way it's 11:30. I said, no way it's 11:30 because you went into the bathroom at 10 o'clock and this show is maybe only 5-10 minutes into the episode because I was going to rewind it. So I have a friend that thinks it's aliens. I don't know if it might be, you know, because it's all within that same time frame. The pyrite, the mushroom, the time lapse.
She's feeling like she's got a big fairy presence at her place.
I do, because I have stuff going missing all the time, and I'm looking for it, and it's right where I had already looked.
I'm trying to think. You can tell another story. I'm gonna access my phone really quick. Look at that sleep token on there. I mean, he's just, you guys, he's a specimen. Can you see it? Look at it.
It just got a little bit of drool right there.
I know, I gotta.
You just get that.
I'm gonna look up something though, so you can tell another story.
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of stuff has happened to me in Louisiana, even like from the first time that I visited. I met my husband on Facebook. We were in a mutual group. But anyways, I was visiting him in Louisiana and we were at the hotel and he's like, I'm gonna go get something to eat. And after he leaves, I hear something call my name. Like, There's my Molly. So I'm thinking he's playing a joke on me because actually, to bring up aliens again, I had an alien dream. There was an alien chasing me in my dreams. And it was like this long, skinny, like yellowish alien. And it was running through the dream and it was like saying, but I love you. I love you. And I was like, literally trying to get away from this
When the aliens don't take the hint.
yeah, it was a stalker alien, and it just wanted a little bit. Okay. Anyways, I told him about this dream, so I'm thinking he's messing with me because I told him in the dream that it was like, I love you, Molly, you know. And so I look out the door, nobody. I look out the window, his truck's leaving. So I'm like, cool, all right, Louisiana, because you know I've had experiences in Washington, but here in Louisiana, it's just been everywhere I go. What was this? So before we moved down here and the house that he had set up for us, he's like, oh yeah, it's haunted. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, it's haunted. I named him Joseph. That's just Joseph.
Joseph the Ghosty.
But to be honest, in that place, I didn't feel any like weird energies there. It was the next place that we moved into that I felt a lot of weird stuff, like the tree portal. We were standing outside and it was like nighttime, and the way that the light was shining through these branches, it looked like a portal during the daytime. These branches are, you know, they're not forming a circle.
She's got a picture of this, so
I do.
We'll have to share it.
I have a few pictures. And because we moved in October and it was nothing but just one experience after the other kept happening. My cat Shadow and I, we were sitting in the living room and we were watching this light go around the room, and I'm like, where's the reflection coming from? Because, you know, I thought maybe it was like a prism.
Yeah, like a watch reflection.
Yeah, and I kept moving because, you know, I've got a shiny watch, and I'm like, no, it's not that. So I'm looking around and we're following it, and it goes over by the front door where my husband's hat's hanging on the wall. And his hat flies off the wall and onto the floor. And I was like, what is here? And this is the first time that I downloaded GhostTube, and I've been using it ever since. Yeah. And I have it on, so I'm like, hello? Who's here? Did you just knock my husband's hat off the wall? Guess what it said?
Move, bitch. Get out my way.
No, but that would have been really funny. It said Joseph.
Oh no!
It said Joseph. You know, this is like months later, and a new phone, because I was like I was trying to like debunk it. I was like, well, you know, phones, they listen. And I'm like, wait a second, this is like 2 phones later, so no. And I just downloaded this app, so that couldn't have been it. Well, the next events that happened within the next few weeks was my son. He was about, I think he was like 8 or 9, and he calls me at midnight and he's like, Mom, there's something outside my window. And I said, what is it? And I always listen to my kids. Yeah. You know, if they're telling me they see something, I'm gonna believe them, because I've seen some things.
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty in my life, and I'm usually not, like, my mom has always believed me, and obviously I've got friends that believe me, but most of the time, I'm not believed. You're making it up, or you imagined it, or you were sleeping and it was a dream. Yeah.
No. Oh, it's just a dream. Just go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh no. When my kids tell me they see something, I'm in there with the freaking windows open, and we're like shooing it out the window.
She's in there doing
I've got the frankincense and myrrh, and we're like, you're not welcome here. Get out.
The Betty White dance and fucking the proposal.
Well, I've got this tornado spray that this woman, she's like my mentor from Washington. She's a shaman witch, and she made tornado water, which gets rid of all the other stuff. And there's like goddess water, which is like, it's moon water with some other stuff in there. It smells really good. But that's basically my monster spray for my kids. So anyways, he's telling me that he sees something outside the window, and he says it's very skeletal.
Nope.
And thin and white. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, that's creepy. So I was like, well, do you want to come into the bed with me? And he goes, no, I'm too afraid. I can't move. And I said, well, let me put like a protective, circle of protection around you, and you're going to be okay. You can call me if anything happens. And because I went over there, and of course, I am not seeing anything.
Right.
And so he calmed down every night for the next 5 nights, same time, midnight, between 12 and 12:30. He's calling me saying that he's still seeing it. Well, I'm like, can you find a picture online of what this creature looks like to you?
Yeah.
And so he finds like, what is those NF, those things that people buy, the NFCs or whatever, NF whatever.
Like the SVGs, like the files that you can use to make other things with.
No, like people sell, they're like, it's like graphics.
Yeah, SVG, what's the other one? PNGs.
It started with like an NF, I don't know. Maybe that's the right word. I don't know. I'm not going to get hung up on it. Anyways, this thing looked so creepy, and it was in a crouching position, and I knew exactly what it was when I first looked at it. Some people call them flesh pedestrians.
We haven't gone over those in an episode yet.
If you get my drift,
yes.
It's a cryptoid, right?
Yes,
cryptid.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of history in Louisiana. And so I did a little bit of research. They like to protect the land from what I've seen. You can do other things like peeing in your perimeter. I wasn't going to go out there and pop a squat.
Molly's just dragging her ass, tissing all around.
No, I didn't. But we had just moved in there.
With her shiwi.
My shiwi.
Do you have a shiwi?
No.
I definitely have a shiwi.
I have tried peeing outside. It did not go well. It's a mess. I'm not that...
I am that feral.
I am not that skilled.
No, I think this summer, so when I do my cross country trip this summer, that's actually what I'm gonna buy me and the other two girls. So Minnow and then her niece. Minnow's moving here, and then her niece is moving here. That's the whole reason I'm going up to Alaska and driving down. But I have a shiwi for that reason, and I'm gonna buy the two of them shiwis also for our trip.
You know what? That's great. They didn't have that back in the day when I was camping around.
Back in my day.
Nope.
Who gave me the shiwi? I think it was a gag gift, but
that's a useful gift.
That's a useful gift.
I'd be like,
but I remember my mom. So my mom works at Walmart in Washington. She still lives up there, and I remember she's a stalker at Walmart, and she saw them in the camping section, and she called me laughing her ass off because she had no idea that it was a thing. She's like, what the fuck is this? Do you know about these things? And I was like, yes, Mom. You use them for camping so you don't have to like completely undress to go to the bathroom. And so she was like, this is the most ridiculous.
You know what? That would have saved me so much embarrassment. So much
time.
Yeah, so much mess. So, yeah, I did not pee on my property, but
so you're telling this story, and it made me think of something that happened here, actually, in my room. So my husband travels for work, and so that means I'm usually here by myself with the kids. And in my bedroom, so you got my room, and then there's a doorway here. So the doorway to get into my room is here, and then here's another doorway, and that leads into my bathroom. Through my bathroom, there's another doorway without a door in it, and that leads straight into our closet. And straight on that back wall, there's a window. So, if any of these houses across the road have their lights on and stuff at night, you can see, there's light being pushed in through that window. So I was having a hard time sleeping this one night, and I'm like tossing and turning in my bed, and I'm facing towards the bathroom door. I'm on my side, and I had my eyes closed, and then I open them, and there's a fucking figure standing in my doorway on the side, kind of like leaning up against it almost.
No.
To the side, just watching me. And I literally closed my eyes. I said, absolutely not.
Not today.
I waited a second. I opened my eyes and it was gone. But I was like, hell no.
Was it a shadow? Or
it was a shadow. I couldn't see any discernible like features or anything. It was just black. It was super tall, super skinny. Did not have a hat on, so it's not hat man.
Okay, I was going to ask if there was
no hat.
I'm getting chills up my spine.
But yeah, just a very tall, skinny, gangly, probably lives in his mother's basement figure, stalking me in my doorway.
He was like, hey, what's up?
And then
how you doing?
And then he's like, oh, no, not a strong, independent woman. I'm out.
He was leaning with it, like
he was just, and it was, I don't know that it was leaning. It kind of looked like it was leaning because obviously it's dark, it's shadows, and it, again, no discernible features, but it could have just been kind of like shoulder in front of my doorway kind of a thing, but it was off to one side. Like it was only taking up that one side. And there's nothing there. Like there's nothing on that. I mean, there's a bunch of shit there now, but not usually. Right now, my house is under construction, so, but that's usually on that wall. The only thing that's there is my clothes hamper for dirty clothes.
Do you ever hear your name being called?
But there's been one instance where, again, in the middle of the night, I was asleep. It actually woke me up where I heard something in my room. It sounded like something was like skittering around my room, like that, but it was coming from different areas. And I woke up and I could hear like little voices talking. So I don't know if that was like Faye, if that was, I don't really know. I didn't see anything. Like you could see, you know how oftentimes with those things it's out of the periphery.
It sounded like some conversation happening in another room kind of thing. It was muffled.
It was close. Like it was in my room. I could tell that it was in my room, but I couldn't understand what they were saying, and it was quiet. But I heard more of the skittering around, and then I was seeing things.
Little bogarts.
I don't know, and then I could see things out of the periphery. And then I think I closed it, because that's actually what I was looking for. Because I remember I told my boss, who's also one of my really good friends, I told her about it, and I was trying to find the conversation, and because it was Facebook Messenger that I was talking to her about it. But I think I just closed my eyes and was like, as long as you're not here to harm me, you're welcome to be here. But I'm trying to sleep, and I need you, to respect that. And then it calmed down after a couple of minutes, and that was that.
I heard you're just not supposed to pay any attention to it. I did not know this growing up, and I heard my name called so many times. Or
as long as you're not hearing your name in the Appalachian Mountains and you're like, okay, going on, because that's how you get dead.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, when I used to live in the basement of my sister's house. It was finished. I was a basement dweller. It was finished somewhat. Anyways, this is like I lived with her from when I was 16 to 18. And I remember for like 2 mornings in a row, I would hear what I thought was my sister calling my name, waking me up. Like she would open, okay. It was a hatch. So when you go up the stairs, it goes to the bathroom, or the kitchen, I mean. But you sometimes had to push the flooring up from her pantry because it was this scary-ass trap door that you put over it, and you walk.
She could have literally put a bookcase over your ass, and you would have been dead.
So I'm pushing the hatch up, or whatever, the flooring up, and I'm like, did you call my name? She's like, no, I didn't call your name. So carry my ass back to sleep. Next morning, same thing, but I go up, same.
And was this in Washington?
It was in Washington. Okay. In Everett.
Okay, because your sister lives somewhere else now, doesn't she?
She's in Kansas.
I was going to say, she lives in a different state.
Man, God, that house was creepy as hell. So, anyways, I'm thinking I'm hearing her call my name again, and it was enough to wake me up out of my sleep, go up there, same thing. No. Next morning, it's a man's voice right in my ear. Ooh.
We don't like when the men's voices come.
And I could feel the breath on my ear. I shot out of bed, sat up. It's pitch black. There's a figure. And, I'm in the basement, and there's a door that leads outside. So I'm thinking some fucking creep is in my room. And so I grabbed my bat, I turned the light on. Nothing. Door was still locked. So I'm like, look, I couldn't process it.
Yeah.
I did not know. And he was wearing suspenders. It looked like an old Southern, like what those guys, I don't know. He had like long straggly hair, a sweat-stained white shirt buttoned up with suspenders and stuff like that. But he did not have a great vibe. It was not a great vibe.
The vibe was not right.
No, it was not right. But it's like,
well, that was like Hannah House. When I was at Hannah, I'll have to drive you by Hannah House today, maybe here in a little bit. We'll take a break from recording, and we'll go over there. But it's a haunted house. My friend does the like marketing and stuff for it. She's great. I love her. But they do Paranormal Day once a year. I'll be vending there in August. I'm so excited. But they do house tours, and then you can also do overnight tours at Hannah House. And it's one of the oldest houses in the area. It's supposedly very haunted and everything. I went through the house and I was like, I'm really not feeling any kind of way in here. Like, everything's super calm. Like, I'm not getting any bad feelings. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything. And like when we went to Myrtle Plantation, we had a couple of instances down there where we were seeing things or feeling like nauseous, got a little dizzy.
I was dizzy the whole time.
The men's parlor is where I got dizzy there. But I wasn't getting any of that. But I did the house tour and then I went back out to the table that I was vending out with Laura, and it was so fucking hot because it's in August and it's in Indiana. So hot and humid, and we were in the sun. So I had walked off to this like little bunch of trees that was like, there were no tents there. There was nobody set up vending or anything. So I walked over under the trees and I was just hanging out there for a few minutes. And her husband was there with her, but he was like the only guy that we had around. And I'm standing under the trees and I was by myself and I hear, hello? Right in my ear, but it was a dude's voice. I whipped around because again, I thought it was her husband scaring me. There was nobody there. And so I was just like, hello? But I never heard another thing. Right. But I never heard anything else. And again, it almost kind of felt like, because they said it like that, like a questioning.
Like
hello?
Curious.
Like, maybe you can, like, they could see through the veil for a minute.
Like, what are you doing here?
Who the hell are you and why are you in this grove of trees?
Oh my God.
So, but it was not threatening and it wasn't loud. But yeah, I thought, but it was literally right up in my ear and it scared the shit out of me so bad because I wasn't anticipating a fucking, disembodied voice being in my ear.
You talk about the veil, but I always wonder too, it's like, certain dimensions.
Oh yeah, no.
Like,
so I think
I
think there's multiple things. Truthfully, there's probably a veil, but there's also I think we have so many different overlapping timelines. Yeah. Like, time is not
linear.
It's not. I think that every single solitary decision that we make day to day creates a whole ass other timeline. I just had
butterfly effect too.
Yes. I was thinking this yesterday. So at work right now, we're doing a whole new like point of sale system and everything. And so I'm there working on our jewelry uploads, and there was a live going on in the background because we do TikTok lives. So they're doing their thing. I'm at a whole different desk doing my thing. And then two of my coworkers were talking to my boss. I think they were on break maybe. And I'm like, do it. And then they said something and I was like, I stopped and I just kind of, because I freeze because it was deja vu. I freeze when that happens. And then I start to panic, and I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to like let it ride out and see where it's going instead of disassociating almost. So I'm sitting there and I was like, I've been here before. And then they kept talking, and everything that they were saying was something that I've already heard, but we've not had this happen before. It was something very specific about what was happening on the live. So I literally just was sitting there like this, and I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I was listening, and then I was like, okay, that's happened. Okay, I heard that. And then I was trying to like guess what was next, and it lasted almost a minute and a half before it finally like went back another direction. I was like, okay,
that happened to me when I came here. I don't know what we were doing, but I had a moment of deja vu too when I got here.
Because you got to think, eventually, every decision that you make, you're going to make another one that intersects that.
That's what I think it is that I always thought about it as a checkpoint. Yeah. Like, you're at a checkpoint in your life. Like, like this is one of the things that was on your blueprint. That's one theory I have.
So you guys are going to laugh. The very first time I ever remember a deja vu instance, not saying that this was the first one that I ever had, but this is the first one that I can like remember happening. I was living in Delaware. as a kid, I couldn't tell you how old I was, but I was literally on the toilet. And I don't know what was happening.
This feels familiar.
I don't know what was happening in the background.
I've been here before.
But I did. I remember sitting there going, this has happened before. Well, duh, shithead. You've definitely been on the toilet before.
Shit.
But there was something else that was happening in the house, probably with my siblings, maybe my mom or my dad. I have no idea, but I remember vividly being on the toilet and that being a deja vu instance. And that's the very first one that I can remember. So,
Wow.
we've lived lives, guys.
Yeah. I don't remember the first deja vu moment I had.
I don't know. I really am trying to ride them out though, but I don't know why my initial feeling to deja vu is to panic, because there's no reason
It's
for it.
unsettling.
I mean, I guess, yeah, it is a little unsettling, but not like panic like
Does your mind go, this is where my mind goes. My mind goes to, am I in a time trap? Like, am I repeating the same day over and over again?
No,
Because like I've I watch a lot of TV and stuff like that. I just remember, it reminds me of that episode of Buffy, like where she's like repeating the same day over and over again.
Yep.
And I'm like, am I going to have to complete a task to get out of this?
Right. Am I gonna have to find this thing to get released? No, it's not like that. My body, like my mind clocks it like, we've been here. We've lived this already. And then I don't know why my first instinct is to panic, but it usually is. So I'm really trying very hard to not panic in those moments and pay attention to what is actually happening around me. And then, because I know when it's done. Like when that whatever I've lived, I remember the things, and then once I'm past that, I know that I'm out of it. So I'm really trying to remember, like, to focus on those things and really be conscious of what's happening instead of just being like, Sheldon with the paper bag internally. But yeah, no, deja vu it freaks me out a little bit. But yeah, that was last night at work. When I was at work last night. And I just stopped and I was like, ugh.
Wow.
So
I've had a couple of deja vu experiences at home, and sometimes it's like when all of our kids are in the living room and I've made dinner and I'm sitting and I'm like, I either do this a lot or this is a meaningful situation that's happening. And then I try and think about, like, is there a message coming?
Right, I was just about to say that. If my life wasn't such a busy shit show, I almost kind of wish I was able to, like, take a beat and write down what was said, what was happening, whatever it was about it, to pay attention, like, to try and break it down. Like, is there something that is happening in that moment that I need to know or hear, or, what am I being told?
Maybe break out your notepad on your phone and like use voice to text.
Don't mind me, guys. I'm just in the corner talking about the exact thing that just happened over here.
You're narrating your life.
But here's the thing. I work with a bunch of witches, so I guess it wouldn't be that odd of a behavior for me to do.
Like, you see nothing.
Right. No. I think they would understand. But I think we're going to wrap up for this one. We're going to go take a break. I'm going to go show her the spooky house. And then we're going to record another one. And I'm not going to tell you what we're recording. You'll just have to wait. Well, maybe we'll get some haunted happenings, because anytime Molly and I get together, something usually happens. So all the more reason I'm trying to get her to move up here in this direction, to come.
Louisiana's got its hooks in us right now.
Oh, that's called poverty.
That is Louisiana. It's impoverished. You have all the seasons here, and I think it's beautiful.
No, I love Indiana. But you can find me on all of the socials. I've got TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. It's Ghost Tracks Podcast. I do still accept listener stories, but nobody wants to tell me their stories, I guess. So
lame.
Maybe you
can do
that.
Got stories.
I know. Tell me your stories. That's at ghosttrackspodcast@gmail.com. Like, share, follow, all the things. Do it. Get me some new listeners. I would love that. I promise I'm trying harder to be here and be consistent. I actually did cry, guys. If I'm being completely honest, I cried because I know that I haven't put out an episode, and I really, one of my goals with the podcast was to be consistent and do it once a week and, show up not just for listeners, but for myself. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it too. And when everything happened or has been happening here, I got really upset and I cried.
I mean, it's hard. You're also editing your own footage.
Well, and I'm here by myself too. And I do this on my own too. So outside of, having, my friends pop on with me every once in a while. And then, I've had the paranormal investigative group and then one other podcast.
It takes a lot.
It's just me. So, but yeah, I've been very overwhelmed, but I have been very sad that I haven't put out episodes. So I am trying.
Life be like that sometimes.
Life be like and hard.
Just gotta roll with it.
Yeah. So share with your friends. Bring all the weirdos here. And we'll see you next time. Stay creepy. Bye.
Bye.